Hey guys, Bitmaster here. Welcome back to yet another video. This is the RAT course part number 6, networking. And what we'll be doing in this video is essentially we are going to take all of the information from the past videos and we're going to add it together. So specifically in my last video, I talked to you guys about sockets and networking. Well, in this video, we're going to network entirely our entire RAT, our entire server, and we're also going to work on the client and get them communicating and talking together 100%, meaning it's going to fully function. Like we're going to be able to send messages, receive messages, connect, disconnect, everything will be done. So let's get started. So the first thing you're going to want to do is basically I'll tell you what, guys. Let's start out with deleting these images. Let's delete the images that we created. And if you have watched my other video for installing CnPack, we're going to enhance the images real fast with a water image. So I'm just going to grab a water image here and slap it down. And then I'm going to go to Quick Edit Picture, and we're going to load in the image of our rat. And click OK. So now we have a nice little cool water image that's animated. Really cool stuff. So I'm going to try to make this resized okay without issue, copy it and paste it to the front. And I'm just going to put that kind of like right over here, if you will. So this can go right there. And that can go right here. Just like that, right about there. And you guys can be as picky as you like. I want mine just about like that. So that'll be a water image. Really cool stuff. And so now when you run the program, here I'll show you real quick. You guys have this cool little water effect on your images. Pretty cool, right? So anyway, moving on, let's get straight into networking, which is what we're supposed to be doing in this video in the first place. So we're going to grab a server socket from Netcom 7. Now, if you guys should have Netcom 7 fully installed by now. I do believe I went over it in a previous video. Essentially, if I didn't, just a little bit of a recap. Here, let me open up a private Firefox window here, and I'll go to github.com. Let's look at Netcom 7. So you'll download the Netcom 7 here from Delphi Builder on GitHub. And once you have it downloaded, you'll install the package. Now, if anyone has any issues with this, just say so. I can make a video showing you guys specifically how to install this package. In fact, I probably will. I do believe I covered it in my past video, but just in case, I can also make a separate video for you guys if you get confused, okay? Just say so in the comments if you do need a video, and I'll make you a video. All right, but in any case, we have the server source. So this is the TNC server source. So I'm going to drag that and drop it to the form. And I'm going to rename it to server socket. Okay, so now we have a server socket on our RAT server project, right? Follow me so far? Okay, great. So essentially what we're going to do is whenever the server socket, whenever our RAT needs to listen, we're going to press this listen button here on the second tab. So when we press that listen button, we want to tell this socket to listen on whatever port number we told it to listen on for incoming client socket connections. So I'm going to click on the button to go into the code. So I'm going to double click the button. And I'm just going to make the server listen. So I'm going to say self.serversocket.port is equivalent to self.spinedit1.value. And that is going to set the port number to this thing. This is spinedit1. Spinedit1 has a value of an integer number. Right now it's set to 3434. So when I click the listen button, set the server socket up to listen on the port number that the user has inside of his or her spin edit component. And that's it. And then we're going to make it listen. Make the socket start listening for incoming clients. Self.serversocket.active is equal to true. Done. Now, at this point, when you click the button, it's going to listen on 3434. We also might want to disable these and say that we're already listening. So what I'm going to do is disable the spin edit so the user cannot change the values while the socket is active. Self.spinedit1.enabled is equal to false. We're turning it off. Also, disable the listen button while the server is active, and also change its caption to listening. So self.button1.caption : listening. We'll just put it like that. Self.button1.enabled equals false. Done. So here, check this out, guys. Just real quick, I'm going to save that. We're going to run the rat. So we're going to run the rat. I'm going to show you what this does, okay? So we're going to go here and click listen. Now it's asking me to allow this through my firewall to listen for active connections. I'm going to click OK, allow, and it's listening. And as you can see, the rat is listening, and we have no one connected, and we're not able to do anything because no one's connected, right? So that sets up the socket to listen. So it is actively listening on port 3434 for inbound client socket connections. So what we're going to do, and personally, I'm going to change this port actually because I have some other services that are active on this. So I'm going to go 3435, and that will be my default port, 3435. So now, guys, what we have to do is we have to think ahead. So whenever people or clients connect in, we want to be able to loop them and control them based on a unique identifier, so that this way we can control multiple clients at the same time. Be very cool, right? So at the top of our code, we're just going to go all the way to the top, and we're going to create a new type here. So let's go and create another type keyword, and this is going to be a class type with 2 bits of information in the class. So we'll call it T connected user data is equal to a class, which is going to hold 2 pieces of information: a line, which is a TNC line, and a client ID, which is going to be a cardinal. Now, we could put this as a string, but I'd rather just keep them as unique as possible. Numbers go a long way, and you can basically randomize the crap out of this. So I'm just going to leave this as a cardinal. Now, let me explain. This is the more or less the socket connection handle of, let's say, this specific client / person. And this helps us further loop and distinguish which person / client we are talking with. So something like that, okay? I'm going to hit save. Now, this will all come together in the end, I promise. Okay, guys, this is super, super basic stuff, and I'll explain as we go, and you guys are totally going to understand. Super, super basic and simple stuff, right? So now then, that we have this basically set up, it is now time for us to start creating the client, okay? So I have 2 Delphis open, so I'm just going to go ahead and go into my other Delphi here, okay? And while I'm doing this, I'm going to open up the rat project on my desktop. So as you can see, we saved the client, the images and media, the attacker side, the server. The server's already dealt with. We have already created this, but we don't have anything in the client folder. So we need to create a client project, right? So I'm going to copy this location so I don't lose it. And we're going to go File, New, And for the purpose of this training, I also want to just note real fast, guys, the proper way to build like a client per se would be to actually create a console application and make it like as super small as possible. But in this particular case, I'm just training you guys, and I don't know, a lot of people won't have like the necessary skill set coming right out the doors, you know what I'm saying, to work with a console application. It's a little bit more difficult to work with than a graphical one, just because instead of having the ability to simply drag and drop and use components in a very simple fashion, you have to program them in manually. It's super easy for people like me who've been doing Delphi for a long time, but if you don't know what you're doing and you can't get events to fire properly with different components, it becomes kind of a hassle, okay? So I just want to say that this is the professional way to do it. A million people would probably disagree with me and say it doesn't matter either way, and I'm actually going to side with them. Either way, it doesn't matter. But the console application, it just, to me, it's... I don't know, there's just something about it. Like having it run in console mode is just amazing. But anyway, we're just going to use Windows VCL application Delphi. So Windows VCL Forms application just for the purpose of training you guys. If later down the road you become more advanced in Delphi, you can create your own console application client mode, okay? So I'm just going to go with the top one, just like we've always done in my videos. And we're just going to make this really small. So here, let me pull this over where we can actually see what we're doing first of all. And I will pull this down a little bit. And then I will pull this back over where you guys can see everything clearly. I can see clearly now. Oh my God. Okay, so now we are going to grab ourselves a client socket. So I typed in client S. This takes me quickly to the client source, because remember, on the server, on our RAT, we're using a client source, a TNC server source, right? So that means we have to use a TNC client source on the client endpoint, okay? So I'm dragging and dropping the client, and I'm going to rename it to client socket. So it's much easier to deal with in code, okay? Rather than sit there having to type out client socket every damn time. Because you know, like TNC client socket every time, that would be annoying. All right, so this is our client, okay? So what we have to do is we have to make a way for this thing to connect to our RAT, right? So you have to think of it like this. I once had a friend back in high school tell me, you have to think of it in the following way. Think of it as you're a piece of code on a system where you may not belong. You don't want to make too much noise, but you also don't want to, you know, you don't want to not work, but you know, you can find some middle ground, right? So basically what we can do is create a way to time this, because think about it. If you're not home, or if you're, you know, out shopping or whatever, you're not at your computer and your RAT's not even on, and you have several different clients trying to connect in, they're not going to be able to connect in because you're not at your computer. You see what I mean? Your stuff isn't running. So what we have to do is we have to handle it to where they kind of pull it and attempt to connect and then fail and then wait a little while and try again and try again and try again. You know, just keep going, right? A lot like the Energizer Bunny commercials, you know what I mean? So we're going to grab a timer and I'm going to throw that down. We're going to rename this connection timer, and it's going to be hitting every 6 seconds, and we're going to disable it. So on the connection timer, this is where we will essentially try to make it connect each time. So let me double click the timer to go into the timer code. So every 6 seconds, 6,000 milliseconds for the interval means 6 seconds. So every 6 seconds, this timer will tick, and this code between the begin and the end will fire in the connection timer event procedure. So every 6 seconds, we're going to try to connect the client socket to us, the server, right? So what we'll do is we are going to say if the client socket is already active, then exit. Now, we're going to try the following. So we're going to try to say self.clientsocket.host is equal to, and then ourselves. And then we're going to set up its port. And this is 3435 because of my default port. And then we're going to try to connect it. And that's it. Now, rather than finally, I'm going to erase this and do except on E, exception, do begin, and we are going to just do nothing. Silently handle any issues here. And that's it. So that'll be it. We're just going to do that. Okay. This could be done better. We may, in the future, before we finish this project, we may be doing some editing on this end. So we might fix this up a little better, but this is perfect for now. So done and done. I'm going to have to save this project. So for the first time you save something, always remember to go to File, Save Project As, and I'm going to save it directly into my client folder, which is on my desktop. So I'm just going to save this as Unit 1. And for the project, the dproj name, I'm going to name this to Client. Okay, and I'm going to hit Save. Okay, perfect. So now we have our timer code and we have everything else we need. So when the program starts, as you remember, I turned off the timer at design time. So when the form creates, I want to say self.timer or connection timer.enabled is equal to true. Okay, so this enables the timer. Enable the timer which attempts to connect us every 6 seconds back to our server. Okie dokie, save. So now this is pretty much done. We can rename the caption of the form to nothing. If you guys are confused about having a graphical interface application, there's no need to be, because we're going to make this super small and tiny when we're done with it. It doesn't have any actual features on it which have anything. And we can also make the form completely invisible, as if it's just a process running on their computer, on a person's computer, right? So this will be completely invisible when we're done programming everything and we get everything set up, okay? So don't freak out on that. I know a lot of you are probably like, well, I don't want a stupid like little form showing in every corner of my screen while I'm testing and doing stuff. But well, when you're testing and doing stuff, it's kind of necessary, but we'll get to that later. In any case, this is good to go. So now, every 6 seconds, the client should be able to connect back to our server no matter what happens, as long as we're listening and actively accepting socket connections on that port, which, if you'll remember, was 3435. So let's go and check this out again. 3435, perfect. Okay, great. So now we have to think about what it is we're trying to do. So when they connect in, what do we want to happen? We essentially want them to connect in. We want to show their IP address here. We want to show their PC name here, whether or not they're running as UAC elevated, and then we're going to show something like whatever their antivirus is or whatever, right? So essentially, if you think about it logically, on the client endpoint, which is this side right here, right? So on the client endpoint, we have to grab somehow whatever antivirus they're running, and then we have to understand if whether or not the client exe is running as UAC elevated or not, and we have to grab their PC name as well, okay? And then that's it. The IP address actually comes directly from socket layer, so we don't have to actually program that in. That's actually already done for us pretty much. And I'll show you that when we get around to doing it. So for now, let's head back over to the client and let's think about what we're going to do next. So to start things off, let's go into our code And just up here at the top portion, let's go into our private declarations and let's go ahead and make some stuff happen here. Let's make a function and let's call this isElevated. And it'll be returning a Boolean value, okay? So the reason this is red is because I haven't programmed it down below, so don't worry about that. We're going to do that right now, okay? So this error goes away. So we have a function. We're calling it isElevated, and it returns a Boolean true or false value. If the value is true, that means we're elevated. If the value is false, that means we're not elevated, okay? It's that simple. Super, super basic stuff, right? So what we'll do is pop on down here, and we will say function tform1.isElevated Boolean var. We're going to also, here, let me go ahead and template this out for us. So we'll start out with a, in order to get to understand whether or not a piece of software running is currently elevated, we have to like mess with kind of like token stuff in Microsoft Windows. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a token handle, which is going to be a T handle. And we're also going to have token information. This is going to be a T token elevation. Then we're going to have a return length, which is a D word. So like this. So you should have these three variables here. And then we're going to try to go down below and start programming. We have to find a way to get the result of the token of the user who executed this exe and find out if that token is elevated or not. Okay, so this is super simple stuff. I'm going to Control D this. So just follow along and you'll understand straight away. Now, since this is a function, I'm going to do something that almost all of us do in this situation. I'm going to set the result to false. Just by default, okay? So already I'm saying we're not elevated, okay? We're not elevated until I find out if we are elevated, okay? So I'm going to say if Win32 major version is less than 6, here, then I'm going to say exit. So if it's less than 6, exit, because up until version 6, Microsoft Windows didn't have UAC, okay? Now I'm going to say the token handle is equal to 0. Sorry, guys, my spelling and my typing is absolutely horrific today. So, okay, so you guys get this so far, right? I'm saying we're not elevated. We're not elevated. If Windows 32 major version is less than 6, then exit, which means it's going to stay at false. So, because until Windows Vista, we didn't have, there was no UAC elevation. It was up to Windows XP, and then Vista came out, and then 7. So if it's less than version 6, 6 is Vista, I do believe. So if it's less than 6, which is Vista, then we just exit, which means we're going to keep to the false routine and say, oh yeah, we're not elevated. Because, like I said, UAC elevation only exists in Vista and 7 up. So let's go ahead and proceed, guys. So down below the token handle, we're going to say token handle is equal to nothing, okay? We're going to try to say if, and here, let me erase this real quick so we can just kind of focus on what we're doing. So try to do the following. If open process token, and it's asking for a process handle, desired access, and the variable token handle, which we're going to be tied to this or tying to this. So we're going to say we're trying to find the token in ourselves inside of this exe. So I'm going to say get current process token query token handle. This ties it to our handle that we created above. Then begin, and actually down below this, I'm going to write finally Okay, so right here, we're going to go into this. So this means that if we were able to open the processes token in our current process and tie it to our token handle here, then we're going to do something with it here. So I'm going to say then begin, and I'm going to put if the get token information is equal to, let's see, it's asking for the T handle. So we're going to pass our token handle to this token elevation. Good God, I can't spell worth crap today. And then we're going to do a return length, which is a D word. The return length is the token information that we probably just grabbed. Let's just pass it as an at parameter. We'll just put token information, and then we'll do, because that one's the pointer, and then this one is a D word, and then return length is also a D word. So this will be size of both. So size of token information and the return length, just like that, should be good to go. So, okay, then we will say that if all of that was done, begin result is going to be equivalent to token information dot token is elevated is not nil or 0. And that's that. Now, Control D and end finally. At the bottom, we are going to say if token handle is obviously not 0, then we will put close handle token handle. Close that handle, and we are done. This code will essentially tell us if we are elevated or not. We're going to leave that. Okay, moving on to the next part. We need to get the computer's name. So at the top here, where we did this function, we're going to do another one. So this is going to be get computer name. And it's going to return a string because it's a name of the computer, right? So let's scroll down and do this one as well. So it'll be function tform1.getComputerName. And for this, we are going to have to add a couple of different variables as well. So I'll go var begin end. So inside of our variables, we're going to have a buffer. This is actually going to be an array type. So we'll have an array of 0 to max computer name length of characters. This is a buffer array of characters, okay? And then we're going to make another variable for a size, which is a D word. So let's come on down and let's put fill character. We're going to fill the character of buffers with the size of buffer 0. Size will be equivalent to the max, and I wish I could just copy that, but here, let me just copy this real quick, guys. Okay, so computer length name plus 1. So now we can say if when API.windows get computer name, and I believe it is this one with the buffer and the size. That's it. So yeah, it wants the buffer and the size, which is a D word. So this is going to be buffer and size. Then we're going to put result is equivalent to the string that's in the buffer. And then if not, we'll put here, let's else the result is equal to unknown, like that. Okay, looks good. So this will get the computer's name, okay? So those two are done. So let's go back to our rat. And which one do we need to do? We need to do the UAC, the PC name, and the antivirus. Okay, well, the antivirus we're going to hard code for now. I have a component we'll use for a later time for that. I do have a way to get it pretty simply, but for now we're just going to stick to basic stuff. So, okay, so let's go back to the client and continue working. So whenever the socket is able to make an event of connection, so as soon as the client is able to connect to the server, we want it to pass its info to the server so the server can show it up properly, correct? So what's going to happen is we have some events that can fire here. So what we'll do, instead of just doing it direct, like as soon as we connect, I like to kind of do a little handshake type thing. So like whenever the client connects to the server, I like to tell the server to say, hey, send me your info. And then the client will send the info after being asked to send the info. You kind of get that? So what we'll do is on the server side of things, we're going to simply put on the server event of onConnected. So like we'll just go right here to onConnected, okay? So when they connect in, we will do, we're simply going to send a bit of text to them saying, hey, you need to like somehow send us your connection info, right? So in order to do that, we can just simply send a one line of text to them. Okay, so let's do that here. So we're just going to put server socket dot execute command, and we are going to put a line. So let me tell you guys this right here. So this event fires the socket that's currently talking to us. So this will be the person that just connected. Okay, and that means a line, that's them. That's the person that just connected. So we can just call that person a line because it's being fired in the same event, okay? So I'm telling the person that just connected, it could be anybody. But every single time someone connects, this will be completely multi-threaded, okay? So we don't have to do hardly any programming, just one line of code, and it's that simple. So all we're going to do is say, send to this person 0 bytes of new con pipe, and that's pretty much it, guys. That's it. Falsify that, and that's it. That's the whole line of code. It is that simple. We are going to say to this person, new connection, and we're going to go over to them now. So as soon as they connect to our server, we are sending new con to them, okay, with a pipe. Okay, you follow me so far, guys? So on the client, we're going to go right here to the client socket and go to on handle command. We're going to double click right here. And now we have the ability to get this kind of going here. So what we're going to do is we are going to set up a way to receive multiple commands from a server in a nice structured manner. So I'm going to create a variable section here, and we're going to make a t-string list. So a t-string list, guys, for those of you who don't know, basically, here's an example off to the side. So in this particular case, we're sending like a string, and then like we're delimiting that string with pipes, which is like, this is a pipe, that's a pipe, that's a pipe, that's a pipe. I think you get the point. It's a pipe. You hold down shift and you click the little backslash button and it makes a pipe, okay? So the reason I use pipes is I find that they're not usually in Unicode strings, and they're not in a lot of very commonly put out stuff, even encryption. Even encrypted strings don't really have a lot of pipes in them. So I find it to be a very good, just a really good thing to use for delimiting strings, because you'll never get hardly any errors with it. Especially if you program your stuff correctly, right? So let me just put it to you this way. If I type the word command hello, or here, I'll just put hello pipe there, Billy, Bob, how are you? Like this. So what this means is, let me kind of go down here a little bit for you guys so you can see. I'm going to show you that in computers, remember computers count from 0. So if this is a T-string list or a list of strings, and we have hello pipe there, pipe Billy Bob, how pipe, blah, blah, blah. So this would be number what, guys? 0, right? You follow me so far? And this would be 1, and then this one here would be 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then 5, and then 6. You follow me, guys? See how easy it is, right? See how easy that is? So if I were to show you that we're sending newcon and then pipe and then nothing after it, like there's nothing there, that means that this is number 0, right? So the string that we're going to be receiving on this side is going to be newcon and a pipe, like that, which means it's number 0, see? And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 don't even exist. So we only get one string, and it's number 0. You see that? See how easy it is? So that's how simple this is. Okay, so I just want to explain that to the beginners. Sorry for all you advanced people that already know this shit. I know, I get it. But I have to try to explain to everybody. This is a total beginner course, okay? So that's in essence what a string list is, okay? Now we're also going to have a command, which is a string. And we're also going to put some other different stuff in here. UAC status is a string. We're also going to put, let's just put a bunch of them together. UAC status, PC name, let's do AV info. These are all strings, okay? And I just taught you guys how to put multiple things as a string, by the way. This is how you do multiple variables in one line as the same type. You just put the variable name, comma, variable name, comma, variable name, and then its type that you're declaring it as. Okay, so enough's enough. We got that down. That's great, right? So we're going to put try. Here, let me fix this. I've got my thing to where it'll do some really stupid stuff sometimes. So basically, we're going to try to do some stuff here, okay? So I am going to put command is going to be the equivalency of getting the current data from the socket that just was sent through to us. So we're going to say command is equal to a string of a data. Now, if you're wondering what the hell that is, a data is up here in the function. So whenever we, as the server, send, hey, what's up, blah, 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 or newcon, or whatever we're sending, it goes into this a data as bytes. The socket receives our stuff as bytes, an array of bytes, okay? So all we're saying is convert it with a string of whatever's in those bytes. So now we have the entire data of t bytes as a string. And it's that simple, one line of code, amazing. All right, so we're gonna proceed. We now have the command. So command, for all intents and purposes, in this case, is newcon and a pipe, right? Follow me so far? So SL is a t-string list.create. And that's that. So now that we have this, we can come down again and say try. And I know we've got several try finallys. We gotta finish doing this stuff, but I'll show you at the end. We'll just stick with it, okay? So this is another try statement inside a try statement. In other words, it's a nested try statement that we're going to be messing with here, okay? Now, there's a really simple ways to do this, but I'm just going to stick to the way that I know. That's really nice, okay? So we're simply going to put that the SL delimiter is equal to a pipe. And SL.strict delimiter will be true. And SL.delimited text is equal to what? The command that we received, that we pulled to a string earlier. So now we're going to say if the SL dot count is greater than 0, then again, if SL0 is equal to newcon, then again, Control D, and we're going to put some stuff in here. This is for our ability to receive a command called newcon and send our info back to the server, so that we'll show up in the list here, right? So once we receive new con, we check to make sure that the SL count is greater than 0. And in this case, because we have a 0 in there and a pipe, then the count of the SLs is actually 1, so it will still work. So we're going to now grab all of the person's info, all of the information that we're going to shove back over here to the server to show up in the list view, right? You follow me so far, guys? Super basic stuff. And trust me, once I finish this code and you have a template to go by, you guys will totally understand. It is super basic stuff. You basically just copy and paste, basically. So let's go ahead and put our new con stuff. So we're going to get all information here to send over to the server. So we'll say the PC name is equivalent to get computer name, done. And then we're going to put if is elevated, then we'll put, here, let me erase this one. Then we will put, if it's elevated, we will put UAC status : equals admin. Let's take this out and put else UAC status : equals user. Then the AV info : equals, we're just going to put WD, or we'll just put defender for now. Like I told you guys, we're just hard coding that one in just for now, okay? So that, my friends, is pretty much it. So now that we have that, here, let me Control D this for you. So now that we've grabbed all the PC info that we wanted to do, and you can do a million things in here if you really truly wanted to, by the way, and we may add to it in the future. But for now that we've got all the info, send the info over to the server. So now all we do after grabbing all the info is send it over to the server. Wow, how easy is that shit? So all we have to do is say self.client-socket.execute command, and we're going to put that to 0 bytes of whatever the hell we're going to send, and that is going to actually be new con with a pipe plus something else, plus something else, plus something else, blah, 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 blah. So let's go take a look at the server. So what's the first thing we want to receive? The first thing we need there, so in this order, we need the PC's name, whether or not they're running as UAC, and their antivirus. So name, UAC, antivirus, right? So this will be the PC name. So you follow me so far, guys? Look how easy this is. And then plus a pipe, because remember we put pipes between all of them, right? So we have the new con, the name. Now we need UAC, which is UAC status. Here, let me, like that. And then we need a pipe. And then the last one, which is going to be AV info, I do believe. AV info. Just like that, boys. That's it. And then at the end, we want to put false, because this is not a, we're not expecting a callback function on this. We're not expecting any data to come back. So we're just blasting out, yeah, we're a new connection, and here's our name, and here's our status, and here's our antivirus. And that's it. You're done. That's it, boys. It's that simple. So now that we have that, we need to finish up our code, okay? So what I'm going to essentially do is at the bottom here, we're going to put, we're simply going to put, let's put sl.free, because we're done with our string list here. This one does not need to be a finally. Let's make this an exception. So except on E, exception, do begin, and we will do like, right here, we'll just put silent, handle any issues / exceptions. Okay, so that's all we got to do. We're done, boys. That's it. So now we're done. That's literally it. Now the client can actually connect to the server, and it should be able to show up in here. Now we still have to program the server and some stuff, but just for now, just take a breather. I'm going to advise you guys to get yourselves a drink, maybe get something to eat, pause the video if you need to. I'm actually going to let you guys know, I'm going to disclose this. I'm actually pausing my recording right now so that I can go get me a drink and maybe something to eat. So by now you guys are probably thinking, holy shit, I probably need to do the same. So just go get something to eat. Take it easy. We're going to finish this. It might be a couple hours, but we're going to finish it, okay? So just go ahead and take your break and come back or whatever if you want to. If not, just keep watching and we'll keep going. All right, boys. So now that we're back, basically what we'll do is continue working on the server side. Now our client side is completely done pretty much, essentially. It's done. Like it's ready to connect and start communicating. So here, also one other thing real quick, guys. Right here where you do the if the SL0 is newcon, then you follow this all the way down to the end of this right here. You can make as many commands as you like. So here, let me show you how easy this is. Like you see how like right here you could put if SL0 equals ass, you know, just, you know, for fun. Then begin, and then you can do something with that command, right? I'm just kidding about the ass, guys. Command whatever you want. So now you can copy this and paste, 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 Control D. So you can separate these out and you can have however many commands you want for your client. So this is for new connection. This is for whatever you want, whatever you want, whatever you want, whatever you want, right? You can have as many commands as you like. Give me a screenshot, give me the passwords, give me the blah, 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 whatever you want. Okay, so in any case, I'm saving that. And it'd be better if you multi-threaded this, by the way, which we're going to do later. I'm going to encapsulate this in its own threaded type of manner, and we'll do that later. But for now, we're sticking to basic stuff. We're just trying to get everything communicating, right? So on the server, so now that you've seen how easy it is to do the client, very basic stuff, very little code to get this up and running. And by the way, just so you know, you don't even need this code. Like this elevated stuff and this computer crap that I wrote, you actually don't need it. You can go here, and instead of coding it yourself, there's actually components. I think there's actually yeah, here you go. So you see these. This is a user account info. You can actually drag and drop that down and activate the component, and it gives you the string of the computer's name and everything automatically with like basically 0 lines or 1 line of code. And you can do the same with the operating system. So it'll show you like what operating system they're running. Like here, I'll actually, you know what? Screw it. Just to show you guys a little example, I'll actually add it in. Let's go ahead and add in the operating system at the very end. This is a little weird, but we'll add it at the end. So operating system, and we're going to auto size that and click close. So now let's resize this a bit just to kind of get it rolling. And let's put this right to the edge. Okay, great. So now we have operating system. So check this out. If I grab the operating system like that, whenever the program loads, so when the program loads, we're going to enable the connection timer. Then we're going to say self.computer or operating system info1.active is equal to true. Then we're going to, so we activate the component, okay? So here, let me just play with it real quick. So we'll activate the component by clicking active to true in the object inspector. And as you can see, the component caption is actually the name and type of the operating system that the person is running. So we could go into the operating system properties and just look directly for the Windows name. Like, so it's got like a bunch of different stuff in here. It's got the serial number that the person's using, blah, blah, blah. We'll just stick to the basics, I suppose. So whenever we did this, you notice how we activate the component whenever the executable starts, right? So let's turn it off here so it's not active. But in code, when the program runs, it activates it, okay? Then, whenever we receive the newcon command, you see how we did the is elevated as admin, and then we got, if they're admin or user, we got their Windows Defender, blah, blah, blah. So we need to add one more bit of information here, and that is going to be their operating system. So we'll just do plus pipe plus self.operating-system1.component caption. Done. That's it. Now it will throw over their operating system, and that's it. You're done. So you didn't have to code some long thing like I did here, like where I did is elevated and all this crap. You won't have to worry about any of that. In fact, I'm sure there's even a component which has is elevated in it too. You just drag and drop it to the form. That's the beauty of Delphi. We have components and libraries that people have already written. Like, check this one out. This is product info. If you drag and drop this to your form, it will automatically grab all of the operating system's softwares that are installed on the OS. So you guys know how you can go to like control panel. Like, you guys know how you can go here and go here? You see all this stuff? Every bit of this, the name, the publisher, install date, size, version, blah, 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 all this stuff right here, all of that is inside of this component. It can be like you just drag and drop that component to the form and it will loop. You can make it loop through and get all of that info with like one line of code. Amazing. I know of no other language this powerful, like, in the world. I really don't. And natively. Like, native is absolute hell. Like, no dependencies of any kind. None. Just drag, drop, boom, done, you're a god. Okay, so moving on. So for this, we're going to keep it as is, and we're going to start programming on the server side, okay? So on the server side, we've already tossed over to the client that we're wanting them to give us some new con info. So we said, basically, give us your new con info. And they're like, okay, sure, I'll, let me just grab that for you, God. So they grab their PC name, they grab whether or not they're elevated, and then they tell us their antivirus, and then they send us back over all of the information. They say new con, and here's all my info. Done. So when we receive that info, we have to do something. So on our end, like we did on the client's end, remember how we did this, the client socket handle command? Now we have to handle command on the server side in the same manner. So we're going to go on handle command event, we're going to go right to the code, and we're going to start programming, okay? And in the same exact way that we did this on the client, we're going to do it in the same way on here, right? So I'm going to make a variable, and we're going to have user. This is actually going to be done in just a little bit of a different way, but for now, we're going to stick to very basic stuff. So let's just go with, we have to keep a list of people. Like, okay, so I'm trying to explain this correctly to you guys. We have to keep up with this list of people that we've created. So as you can see at the top of the code, remember earlier how we created the type class of T-connected user data, and we have their line property and their client ID that they're going to be as a cardinal. We have to properly receive that person in here and hold them in memory where we can loop through them and talk to them and from them, okay? So it's very important that we get this part correct, okay? So what I'm going to do is create a variable called user data, and it's going to be of type our class T-connected user data, and we're going to have a command, which is a string. Same thing as we did on the client, right? Follow me so far, guys? Li is a T-list item because we're going to be throwing them onto our list view right here, right? Follow me so far? So then, now that we have that, we're going to have to also create a list of parameters that we're going to be using later. This one can get just a little bit out there, but for now, what we're going to do is just create params as an T array of string. So let's do array of string. And what we're going to do is say, the first thing we're going to do is say command is equivalent to the string of a data. And now that we have the command, and if you guys remember, it's the same thing I talked about on the client. The a data property is whatever the T bytes were we received from the opposing endpoint. So when the client says, hey, what's up, yo, 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 or whatever, it says T bytes, right? So we're saying the command becomes whatever they said to us, okay, as a string, okay? So we're typecasting. We're converting the T bytes to a string of whatever we throw into the command. So whatever they type to us, if they type the word hello, then command would be hello, okay? You get it? All right, so now that we have that, we're going to say with the tstringlist.create do, and we're going to create a tstring list, and we're going to try to do some stuff here, okay, with a string list. So we're going to try to set its delimiter to pipe. And then we're going to say strict delimiter is true, okay, for this string list that we're creating in memory here to deal with. And then we're going to say delimited text is equal to command. And then we are going to store the needed parts from the T string list into a static array. So we will set the length of params to the count for variable I. Here, let me get this. We're using some inline variables. This is a new feature of Delphi, so I just thought that I would take advantage of it at least once in a while to see what it's like. Used to, you couldn't do this in Delphi. Like you wouldn't be able to declare inline variables. So I just wanted to try it just for fun, just to see if it actually works. This will actually be my second time doing it. So we'll put, like I said here, we'll just put for variable I is equal to 0. We'll put 0 to the count minus 1. So that should do minus 1, and then do params I equals strings I. Finally, well, it already put that there for me. We'll just do free. So that is actually doing pretty darn good. So there we have it. Now we're able to set this up. So we've created a string list delimiter, and we've set that string list delimited text to command of whatever received from the client. And then we're setting the length of this, and we're getting down to this. So we should be able to go ahead and start doing some really cool stuff here. So we'll go past this point where we do the finally free, and then we're going to come on down to this portion, and I'll scroll down so you guys can clearly see what I'm doing here. So now that we free that, if the length of the params equals 0, then here, let me try to fix that. Then we're just going to exit. We're not going to do anything. So if, in other words, what we're saying is if there's nothing in there, if there's nothing in the parameters at all, we're just not going to do anything at all, because there's no command. There's nothing there to parse. There's nothing there to delimit through. There's nothing at all. So don't do anything, obviously. Okay, so now that we've gotten past that, we're going to say if params 0 is equal to new con, then begin doing some stuff. So we're actually going to do what we failed to do on the client, which is create an actual multi-threaded event thing here, which we're going to use a tthread.q, and we are going to say nil, and then we are going to say procedure begin, and we are going to do some stuff here. So now we've created an event, a threaded event in here that's going to fire whenever someone sends us new con. This will be good because if we have, like, say for example, if you had like 5,000 connections at the same time, it'll all happen in a multi-threaded manner. So it'll be really, really super fast and powerful. Okay, so we're going to say user data is equivalent to t connected user data.create. Now we're going to say user data.line is equivalent to a line, the current a line that we're talking to in this event. So we've just created a user inside of our socket memory. Okay, we've tied a record of a client to our already pre-existing class that we created to hold each and every socket connection in memory so we can easily loop over people. So now we'll say user data.client ID is equivalent to a line.handle plus random, and we're just going to randomize some number here. So I'll just put in a random number of that, for example, and that'll be that. So now they have a somewhat of a uniquely generated ID for each person. You get what I'm trying to say? We're not only using the socket handle, but we're also randomizing a number. That way it makes it that much more unique. Now we could use MAC addresses. We could use other truly unique IDs. I don't give a shit. This is for learning. You guys get the point. You can choose your own way of doing it, but this way is just super, super basic, okay? So there's that. Now we're going to say if the length of params is greater than 6. Oops, sorry guys. My spelling is absolutely terrible. We're going to begin doing some stuff here. So if the params are greater than 6, then we are going to, and this is actually wrong, believe it or not, we are actually not receiving anything greater than 6 at this point. We'll fix this. Let me go ahead and count this real quick. We're doing 0, 1, 2, 3. So it's not 6. It's 3, guys. So it'll be 4 total. Let's go back to the rat here and go 0, 1, 2, 3. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So yeah, if it's greater than 3, which is 4. Okay, cool. So now we can proceed. We're going to say form1 dot connected. Oh, and I did forget to do this. Let's we didn't create a connected user object. Let's go back up to the top of our code real quick here, guys. I did forget to do something in the public declarations, I do believe. So at the top of your code, what we're going to need to do in the public declarations right here, we're going to make some stuff. Connected, here, connected users is going to be a type of t-string list, just like that. And then we're going to have li data as a pointer string. And then we're also going to have connected users lock, which is a t critical section. Make sure you add these 3 things in. I totally forgot to do it earlier. If you get an error because of the t-critical section, it's undeclared identifier. That's because you have to include system.syncobs as a uses clause statement there. That will fix the error, okay? We have to include the system.syncob objects uses clause. So that fixes that. Sorry about that, guys. Let's pop down here back to what we're dealing with. So essentially, going back to what we're doing here, we're going to add the person onto the list view, but we're also going to add them to our memory so we can loop through them later on down the road so we can keep talking to them, etc., etc. So we've created them in memory here, and now we're going to throw them onto the list view, okay? So on the length params greater than 3, what I'm saying here is that if we're receiving like newcon, that's 1, their UAC status, that's 2, and then 3 would be AV, and then 4, we're adding in the operating system information. So that means if it's greater than 3, which means it's 4, 5, 6, above, then we're going to add all the stuff here, right? And really, honestly, guys, I don't even think we would need this bit of code, but I'm just going to put it just to be safe. So we're saying that if the length of the parameters that were received is greater than 3, which means it has to be 4, 5, 6, 7. The reason I put this is because we might want to add to it at a later time. So say like, okay, see how we have PC name, UAC, antivirus, operating system? What if we want to add like blah, 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 more, right? Then we can do that, and we can easily just leave this at 3, like right here, and we can just simply add them down below. Like, we don't have to change this line of code. We can just leave it like that and keep adding as many things as we'd like. You follow me? Okay, so what we're going to do is say form1 dot connected users dot add object, and then we're going to say params 1 user data, and that's that. So that adds them to our globalized string list of people that we have connected. Now we're going to add them to the list item. So li is equivalent to form1 dot list view 1 dot items dot add. Then we're going to put li.caption equals, and then we're going to go a line dot peer IP, because remember, we want their IP address to show first, right? Their IP goes right here, right? And then the PC name, UAC, blah, 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 right? Follow me so far? So the peer IP goes first. Then what's next? Well, what's next is whatever's next. PC name, UAC, antivirus, blah, 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 right? So what we'll do is li.subitems.add. And for this, it'll be params, whatever, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, blah, 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 however many you want to add. So remember, guys, remember the string list stuff I told you earlier about 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4? Because everything with a pipe, you follow me so far, guys? So this is 0, and then a pipe right there, right? So 0, pipe, 1, pipe, 2, pipe, 3, you get the point, and this is 4. So it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll come back over here, and we're going to put, we're going to add the params of 1 right there. You're right, follow me? So let's copy that. So it's 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So boom, 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 and boom. So we have 0, and then we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's it, guys. You follow me? It's super basic, super easy. And if you want to label these, that's fine. You can label this PC name, and then you can put this one as UAC, and then this one can be antivirus, you know, and whatever. I'm a little picky. Let's put the dot, dot, dot there too. And then right here, this could be the operating system. Like that. You see? You follow me, guys? It's super, super basic stuff. So now that we have that, we can now we can put new. So okay, before I do this part, I just want to explain to you guys something. Whenever we add them as part of the list item here, it's not enough just to throw them on the list. So I'm going to show you a kind of advanced technique that I use to append hidden data to them, so that when you select on a person, you have them in memory ready to talk to. It's really cool stuff. So let me put it this way. Everything that goes on here that you see, like, you know, the items that go into this thing and then they show up and you see like IP address, PC name, UAC, antivirus, operating system, you know, all that. But there's other underlying data with underneath each item that you don't see as a human being. Okay, it's called .data property. So you can actually shove hidden data of any type, by the way, into each item thrown onto this list invisibly. And what I would like to do is I would like to throw their actual ID, the one that we use at the top of our code. So like here, like let me show you this, like this client ID. This allows you to loop through anyone and everyone connected to your server and talk to that person directly. So this is why we did all this type stuff. So we have the line where they're actually to be contacted at on the socket level layer. And we have a unique ID that we're using to take control of that socket level thing to better understand who we're actually speaking with. So, okay, so with that in mind, here at the bottom here, guys, we're going to type in, we're going to create a new form1.li data. Now, if you remember, li data is a pointer string. So we're creating a new pointer string, okay, that's going to point to a string of data that we're going to shove into each list item that gets added. In other words, each person that connects in, we're creating a hidden piece of information in the data property of their item that you don't actually see as a human being. Like all you're going to see is IP address, PC name, UAC, antivirus, operating system. But inside of each item that comes in, each side of each person or client that connects in, we're shoving a hidden piece of information into their item so that it's easier for us to, when we click on them, we can instantly lock onto their ID. You get it? Super basic stuff. So we're going to say form1.li data, which is, we're going to point to that, is going to become int to str. We're converting their user data.client ID from a cardinal to a string, and we're shoving it into that hidden data property. So here, let me click down here so you guys can see what I'm writing. So now li.data, the hidden custom data property, which resides in each item that we're messing with, we're going to say becomes equal to form1.li data. Done. Okay, fantastic. So now this is going to say add the client to the list item or list view component so the user can visually see the connection. Something like that, right? This part will be shove into this connections item a hidden client ID value. This is just so that we can click on them later at a different time. You can click on different people in here and it'll instantly know which item that person belongs to, or which person that item belongs to. You see what I'm getting at? It makes it super easy for you to control like tens of thousands of connections. It's just really, really cool stuff, right? You follow me, guys? So down here, we must now update our value of how many clients we have connected to our rat. So guys, check this out. Check this out. You see how at the bottom, how we have clients online is 0? Well, obviously, if someone connects in, you want that to fucking show something else, right? And also, not to mention the fact, in my rat, I want it to also show up here as well. So on mine, I have tabs. So if I look at my tabs, this is caption clients 0. So I'm going to have to update 2 things at the same time. You guys can just update this if that's all you have on your rat. So here, let me start with your guys' stuff, okay? So we're going to update. So first off, we're going to get new con. We're threading every bit of this action. And then we are we're generating them a unique ID and creating them in memory. We're adding them to our list view so we can see who they are and we can click on them and control them. And we're also adding a hidden data property for their client ID attached to their item in RAM, okay? But after we add someone, we want to show that someone connected. So we want to add all the people we have connected properly so we see how many people are connected, right? So that's exactly what we're doing. We're going to say form1 dot, and I'm going to do my SE styled form1 first. So you guys don't have to really probably worry about this if you don't have anything. Mine is going to be connections and then plus and then int to str and then form1 dot connected users dot count. And then I'm going to go plus and boom, and that is that. Okay, so guys, you're going to do the same damn thing, but you're going to do it with a panel from your status bar. So let me show you that. You're going to say form1 dot status bar 1 dot panels 0 dot text is equivalent to and then whatever you put for your text, which mine says clients online. So we're going to put clients online plus int here. You can actually just I'll just copy this. It's the same damn thing. You just paste that in, and then you're going to do plus, and I should have just copied all the way because it's literally the same damn thing. So there you have it. So now this is my specialty one, which will just update the top number, and you guys will see that once I run the rat. but this one here will update your yours at the bottom. Okay, so save that, and we are good to go. So here, let's give it a test run. Just see if just shits and giggles. Let's just see if it works. I don't think I programmed in some things. It's probably gonna. We may get an error. I don't know. We'll have to go look through the code, but let's just give it a try. Okay. So here's the rat, and I'm going to listen on 3435, and I'm going to go here. Okay, and we're going to run this one, and hopefully we don't get any errors. Oh, whoop, got a range check error. See, I told you guys, we got to really be careful about that. So hang on just a sec. Let me go back to the client code and figure out why we got that error. I believe we got that error because, and I believe I know why, this component right here causes issues. So we are going to put a try statement instead, just so we don't get screwed over here. So we're going to say, try to set this to true, except on E exception, do begin and control D. And we're going to put this to self.connection. We'll do here. Sorry about that, guys. I didn't mean to. This one was fine. We can put this one here. This is the troublemaker. Let's put this here and also here. I'm just trying to force it to go. Let's run this and see if we still get the error. Okay, so this component is trash. I would not use this component at all. It's pure garbage. In most cases, I think it's because it's on the onCreate event procedure. So see, guys, this is another thing you'll run into. Like, if you get an error right away, generally it's going to be because you're trying to do something in a way or from like an event where it's not fully created yet or it's not ready yet. That's kind of what I'm assuming here. So I'll try to fix this real fast and we'll see where we get. So guys, basically, I found out that I have an older version of this installed and it's not working well with my IDE. So I'm going to take this completely out, like the little component that I would use. I'm taking that completely out. We're just going to program it. It really won't take that long for it to program the computer's name. So you'll notice that since I removed the component, we no longer have the ability to just send it in a one-liner. We're going to go ahead and just write the functionality to grab the computer name, or rather to grab the operating system's name, just right up here in this code. So let's go ahead and do this, guys. Right up here in this portion, we are going to, here, let's see if we can take this part out. Just real quick, let's take this out. And let's leave it as this and call this, I'll just put a bunch of stuff so we can see it later. So up at the top here in our private declarations, we're going to make another function in order to retrieve the operating system's name. Well, essentially the Windows version of the operating system that we're currently running on, right? So for this, we will do get Windows version. And this will return a string variable type, okay? Because it's going to be the string of, you know, Windows whatever, 7, 8, 9, 10, blah, 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 whatever, right? So this will be get Windows version, and we're going to come down here and we're going to program it right here. So function tform1.get Windows version. And we're going to do var again end, just like we always do. The only declared variable that we're going to need here is version info. And that's going to be TOS version info type. Now we're going to start programming. So version info dot DWOS version info size, which is a D word, will be equivalent to the size of the TOS version info that we are messing with here. So if get version X, which is a Windows function, version info. So if the get version X of version info, which is our variable that we're messing with, then we will begin doing some stuff here. So we're going to do a case statement because this is probably like the simplest thing I know to do, because obviously if we have different cases of Windows versions, so like if it's Windows XP, if it's Windows Vista, if it's Windows blah, 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 blah. So we're going to put case version info .dw major version. So if it's the major version of, let's say we're going to start with 5. This means case also of version info minor version. So we're looking at major version, minor version. If the major version is 5, 6, 10, or 11, then we're going to have to look at the minor versions of Windows to see if it's Windows 2000, XP, Server, and then in the case of 6, 10, and 11, we check to see if it's Vista 7, 8, 8.1, Windows 10, and obviously the new Windows 11, soon to be 12, but you get the point. So we're looking at the major version of 5, which is really old, by the way. We're talking like way the fuck back. So we're gonna do some stuff in here. We're gonna have 0, which is going to be adding to a result. We're going to make it to the result of, we'll do Windows 2000. Sorry for my spelling, guys. And then we'll do case 1, which would be, result would be equivalent to something else. And then 2, result will be something else. So for this one, we'll do Windows XP, and for this one, we will do Windows Server 2003. Okay, great. Now we're moving right along. So we're going to come down here, and we're going to put an end, and then we're going to put, here, let me take this back out. Then we're going to do 6 case version info .dw minor version of, and then we're going to come down and we're going to start putting stuff here. So 0, 1, 2, and 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. So we'll come here and we'll put result, and I wonder if I might be able to actually do this here. Let me try this here, guys. Let me paste this. Aw, I wish I had multi-line editing. That would be so cool. So result is equal to, and if anybody knows how to enable multi-line editing, please fucking let me know, because it would be great. I've needed it more times than I can count. I probably need to go look it up myself. But anyway, so the result is equal to, and this one is going to be Windows Vista. And then we're going to do the same thing here. Result is equal to, this will be Windows 7. And then this will be, the result would be equivalent to Windows 8. And then this will be 8.1. So result will be equal to Windows 8.1. Okay, cool. So now that we've done that, we'll come down and then we'll do 10 and 11. So we have to put the result will be equivalent to Windows 10, and the result would be equal to Windows 7. Result will be equal to Windows 11. And there you have it. Else, we're going to put result will be equivalent to we'll just put unknown, just to make it easy on myself. Okay, great. So that is looking pretty good, guys. So we now have a function that can literally look at the major versions and the minor versions and pull via these determining which version of Windows we're running. Okay, so that seems good to me. Let's go ahead and let me look at this really close. I think that will pretty much do it. Let me just add in something else here real quick. A little better formatting for you. Okay, there you have it. Now we've got, if it shows that we can't find any of these, we actually put a formatter in that just shows what version it actually is currently running on. Okay, if it doesn't find any of these and it's incapable of showing this, then the result will be unknown. Okay, alrighty, moving forward, boys. So guys, now that we've written that, go back down to where we send the command, the finalized command, where I put all this junk right here. So go back to this, and all you have to do is erase that, and what you'll call there instead of the bullcrap that I added was just this. So you'll do newcon, PC name, UAC status, AV info, get Windows version, and you are done. Now we're going to go ahead and give this a real quick test. So I'm going to run the rat. So as you guys can see, I'm running the rat. I'm listening on port 3435 for connections, remote connections, right? So we're listening and I'm waiting. I'm going to run the client. So click run. Here, I'll go back to the graphical interface so you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to go to the graphical interface, click run, and we're going to wait to see what happens. So as you can see, someone does show up. So you see that? So we are running as admin because we're running as an elevated process created by Rad Studio. So we are running as admin, so that is correct. And here's my desktop name. We're at localhost, we're running Windows Defender, and we are on Windows 10. This is all correct. So our code works flawless, boys. Now I'm going to show you something because we're not done. We got a little ways to go. So like if I were to close the client, and this is open just for testing purposes, I hope you guys understand that. This would essentially be hidden if this was like an actual live malware. But since this is YouTube, I'm not gonna pursue that. We're not gonna talk about that. But this would be invisible. And so I'm gonna close it out. And when I do, you're gonna notice nothing happens. That's because we haven't programmed it to remove the person if they disconnect. You see? So I'm going to close this out, and we're going to go ahead and program that in right away. So the client is pretty much done. All we have to do is make sure that the server is functioning properly and able to send commands and receive commands back, and we're done, basically. I mean, we can, at that point, sky is basically the limit, boys. So let's go ahead and go to the server socket, and we are going to look at developing a way to disconnect people. So if the socket determines or detects a disconnect event happening between us and a client that just recently disconnected, what we'll do is we will disconnect them and properly remove them from memory and properly remove them from our list view as well. So let's go to the on disconnect event procedure of the server socket on our actual rat GUI interface. So go there, and we're going to start programming. So guys, for this, essentially what we're going to do is we are going to create some variables. So basically, we're going to have a, we'll just simply put a remote IP, which will be a string, okay? And then what we will do is we will, let me think for a minute here, boys. Yeah, we're just gonna do this in a very super simple way. So here's what we'll do, okay? We're gonna say that we're only gonna declare one variable, at least for this portion so far, and that is the remote IP of the person's IP that we're actually removing. Now, we are going to go deeper because remember, we are not going to simply do this by remote IP. It's not enough. So like here, let me show you. Up at the top of the code where I showed you how we put in that class with the line and the client ID, this is essentially their like socket handle as well as their A line, which is their like information, their underlying socket info, like their peer IP, the remote IP, and just some other little things like that in the socket layer. So this essentially would define them as a remote connected host with a remote IP address. But now I want you guys to really think ahead, okay? Because think about it. What if you have multiple clients connected in from the same IP address. Now, could you imagine if we were stupid enough to come down here in the disconnect code and actually do it based off of remote IP? How stupid would that be? Think about it like this. If you had like 99 people all in a chat room, right? If this was a chat program and everyone inside of that chat room was connected from the same local, like, like the same IP address, like the same remote home IP address. Like let's say that Billy, Sally, and Jamie are all living together in the same apartment or home or whatever, and they connect to your chat server. Well, they're all going to have the same IP. So you're saying that if one of them disconnects, you're going to disconnect all of them based on their remote IP? That would be the dumbest thing in the world that you could possibly fucking do. Are you kind of getting what I'm saying, guys? That's why we put the connected user data class with their line as well as an ID that can help us stay locked on to the appropriate people. Now, I really, really hope that you guys are starting to understand the madness behind creating this class. I really hope you do, because that is the clearest explanation I could possibly give to you right there. So down here, we're going to go ahead and do the remote IP because we may do some stuff with it later, but we are going to also go deeper. So I will say remote IP is equivalent to a-line.peer IP. Okay, done. Now we can proceed with what we're going to do. So we're going to create a separate thread, a queued up thread to get rid of this person. Okay, so to do that, tthread.queue. Now we are going to say nil for the first parameter. Then we're going to say, we're going to create a procedure with some variables, and we are going to do begin and end. So now inside of this, we're going to have some variables. First of all, I is an integer for localized looping, and we're going to have user data. See that old familiar user data? We're going to go t connected user data, which is the connected person that we're going to dive into to see if that is in fact the person we want to screw off the rat. You get it? So that's funny, right? So then we're going to have a list item. We have to have a list item variable because we have to be able to loop through each list item, find the person that disconnected, and remove them, right? Hey guys, this is actually getting pretty cool, right? You follow me so far? All right, so there's the list item we're going to be using to do that with. And then we are going to need we're going to need the client ID, which is going to be a string. Actually, I think this will actually be a cardinal. So I think we made it a cardinal. Yeah, we made it a cardinal. Okay, so we're gonna make a new client ID down here, and we're gonna make that a cardinal. Okay, so now guys, what we can do is go ahead and start looping through this stuff. So let's start looping through everyone that's connected, and we're going to just find the person that did just disconnect. So we're going to say for I is equal to 0, okay, to a high value of form1 dot connected users dot count -1. In other words, everyone, we're looping through everyone that's connected to us, to our rat. Okay, we're looping through every single person. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It doesn't matter. Billy, Bobby, Jackson, whatever. Fucking Michael Jackson from the grave. It doesn't matter. We're gonna loop over his ass too. All right. So even if he's dead. So now, because that's exactly what we're doing here. If they're dead connection, we want them dead. We want them to go bye-bye. So we're going to say again. Okay, and that's going to automatically add an end for us, so we don't have to do it ourselves. Yay! And then we're going to put user data is going to be equivalent to t connected user data form1 dot connected users dot objects I. Okay, So now if the user data.line is equal to a line, the current person that we're actually messing with in the case of a disconnect right now actively in real time, see that, the connection? Like this A line is the person that just caused this event to fire. In other words, that's the person that just disconnected. So we're looping through all of our people we do have in memory and finding that person that has the same line property as the person who just disconnected. So we're saying if the user data's.line is equal to the person that we're actually screwing with that we want to delete, then we're going to do something with that person. So what we have to essentially do is we have to come down here and we have to say client ID is equal to int to str user data dot client ID. And there you have it. And I'm going to have to typecast this because I did make this client ID a cardinal here. So instead of a cardinal, let's make this a string, okay? So we're now converting or typecasting a cardinal-based value to a string-based value because our user data client ID at the top of our code is a cardinal because it's an integer. It's just a random valued number based, if you'll remember, it's based off of the socket handle. So where we did the, like the on new connection, we did the socket handle as well as a random number that we generated. So that's why that's like that. So we're converting an integer to a string from this one and throwing it into client ID. So we're saying that if the user data's line is the same person we're trying to delete off of our stuff, then this is exactly what we're trying to do, okay? So now we need to rid ourselves of this person, okay? So we'll say to do this, we will say come down and put loop through our list view and get rid of the person that just disconnected from us. So we're going to say, let's say we will do this again. We'll say for I is equal to 0. And then we will put the items.count. So we'll go to a high of form1.listview1.items.count -1. So we're literally now saying loop through every single person in the entire list view. We're looping through every person in here, okay? Until we find the person we want to get to, and we'll break out of the loop. This will conserve CPU cycles, so we're not literally looping through literally every single one of these. We're just, if we get to the one we're looking for first, we'll just erase them and move on with our lives, and we won't continue the loop if we find them, okay? So this is actually complaining about a localized loop because we've already created a variable we're looping. We can't loop with the same variable within our loop. I'll fix this in just a minute, guys. Just bear with me. Let's go ahead and get this over with, okay? So we'll say that we will come down through here. Let's do like, we're going to loop through these dudes. We're going to do this. Client ID is equal to that. Let's go ahead and end this. And then we will Control D that out. And yeah, this is actually looking much, much better. So this will be much, much better. Okay, so we've exited this loop. Now we can use I down here below. So we've looped, we get the client ID of the person and we've got them. Now we can loop again. So you guys kind of get what we're doing here. We're looping through memory first to find the person, okay? We grab their ID once we find them. Then we're going to loop physically through the list view items, which is all the people that are in here, all the items in here. So we're going to loop boom, 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 all the way through them, right? And we're going to find the one we're looking for and delete it. It's that simple, okay? So for this, we're going to say that we're looping through and we're going to say li is equivalent to form1.listview.items I. So the list item that we've now locked onto in our variable declaration is the current one that we're looping over, okay? So we're looping through them, we're looking at them, we're gonna say, if the P string, the pointer string that we created earlier, li.data, to that record pointer, that string pointer, is equal to client ID, which we grabbed here in the first loop, then that's the person, that's the guy, that's him, that's the person we want to delete. You follow me so far, guys? So we're going to say begin, and then we are going to come down and we're going to say delete him. So li.delete and then break out of the loop. We don't want to continue the loop if we're already done, right? So that's that. Now we can do this. So now we've done, and don't worry about these errors, guys. I'll fix this crap. It's out of order. So essentially, we loop through the memory, we find the person we're trying to get rid of, and then we loop through the list items, and we actually delete that person out. Okay, and that's pretty much it. That's exactly what we do. So before we do this, though, let's do some thinking. We need to also do one other thing, and that is this user data that we find. We need to, once we've actually find this person, we need to like do like this. So we'll come to this, and then we can free that user data, and that should be good enough. So guys, I spiffed up the code a little bit and made it a little nicer. So basically what you want to do is just make sure you copy off of me, okay? I put the remote IP like we did. I set it to the peer IP. I created a T-thread queue. We have an integer, user data, the list item, and the client ID, just like I showed you. We're doing the first loop. So we do the first loop and we assign user data to the current person we're looping over, and we're checking to see if it is the line of the person we're actually trying to speak with. If it is, we say that the client ID is equal to that person's client ID. Then we're freeing our user data, because we need to, remember guys, we have to free them from memory properly. If you're not freeing them from memory properly and you're disconnecting them, over a period of time, eventually your RAM is going to get filled up like crazy. Not to mention your application will just be total trash, and it'll probably get like really bogged down over time. And then not to mention you'll have like, I mean, you'll just overflow the crap out of it. It'll be crap. So you got to make sure that you're freeing your variables properly. So if you guys remember this, this user data stuff here, like whenever we create the form, you have to, here, let me see if I can find this real quick. It's the TKey user connected data class. So for every single time someone connects in and you're putting them in memory, you have to also reverse that when they're deleted and destroyed. Like when they disconnect, you have to remove them from memory. So you know how we did the newcon connection thing, like where we do like newcon right here, and then we create a user data thing here because they connect in and we put them in memory. Okay, so it makes sense to you then whenever they disconnect, you have to free that user data memory because we no longer require it. See, we're looping through all of the people in memory, grabbing their client ID, then we can free them from memory because we already have their client ID grabbed in memory, so we can use it down below in the other loop, but we're freeing them from memory entirely. But we're holding their client ID hostage because we can go to our list view where their item still exists in memory because it's still on the list view, and we're looping through the list view and deleting their item. You see that? So we're saying that the client ID is equal to their stuff that we grabbed, their client ID, the random generated stuff that we made for them. We're freeing them from RAM, and then we are saying to delete their item, like delete them from the virtual list of people that we keep track of in the first place, which is created on our form startup procedure. It's called the connected users list, which is a T-string list. It basically is just a big long T-string list of everybody's name that's connected. That's it. That's all it is. So we're literally down here, we're just looping, and we are freeing them from memory. So we're literally freeing them from memory, deleting them from memory, and then breaking out of this loop so that we come down to the next loop, which is looping through our list items. So again, I'm sorry to re-explain this again, but I reiterate, first we loop through memory and remove them completely. Then we physically loop through the list view here and remove them. You get it? So that's that. So we're looping through the list view, and for each item we loop through, we assign that item to our variable, and we say, check your p-string of li data pointer to see if it's equal to the hidden ID that we shoved into it of the client's ID. If it is that client's ID, delete that person off the list and break out of the loop so we can do the next one if someone disconnects. It's that simple, guys. And then down below right here, these are just us updating the count. So like, remember, if someone gets removed and they go bye-bye, then you have to update the count of people online, right? Right? Okay, so guys, just for shits and giggles, let's see if this code runs. Let's actually see if it actually works in practice, okay? So I'm going to click run, and we're going to see what happens. So I'm going to listen on port 3435, and we're going to run the client. Okay, follow me so far? And it's running, and it looks like we are going to get a active connection, and bingo. Okay, so yeah, we got a person online. We can right click on them and blah, blah, blah. But what if they die? Oh, it worked. Perfect. Yay. There you go, boys. You see how it like changed to 0 and 0 and they went bye-bye? Perfect. Perfection. So guys, this is actually doing not half bad. This is actually a pretty decent mini little rat written up so far. So whatever, guys, at this point, pretty much the system is done. So you're able to connect and disconnect people appropriately. Now all you have to do is get them talking back and forth, and you're ready to blow up and code a whole fucking rat. How cool is that, boys? So guys, we are getting dangerously close to 2 hours in this video. So I did make an earlier kind of guarantee that we would complete this in this video as far as the networking is concerned. So we are going to follow through with this, but we're going to have to, because in the last video I told you guys that we would work on the remote task manager. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to get around to doing that in this video. So to remedy that situation, we are going to finish the networking. So if you guys can just hang with me just a little bit more, we can get the networking completely done. So what we're about to do right now is we're going to implement two functions, two procedures really, that are going to be used to, number one, broadcast a message to all the connected clients. And the next procedure we're going to write is going to give you the ability or power to be able to send to only a selected client. Very cool stuff, right? So let's go ahead and pop over to the server code responsible for this, and let's start writing some code. So in the probably the public declarations, we'll just do it up here. We're going to have to add a couple of different procedures. Okay, one for sending to all and one for sending to a single selected client, if you will. So in order to do that, let's go right here and we're going to type procedure, and this is going to be send to all, just like that. Okay, and actually we'll do send to all, and we'll make it super basic, easy to follow. Data will be T-bytes. Okay, so there's a send to all procedure. And we're also going to do another procedure, which is going to be called, we'll just put send to single client. Okay, so just like that. And we're going to give this a couple of different parameters. The first parameter is the client's ID, which is a cardinal. Okay, and that's going to be the person that you would like to talk to. Okay, specifically that one person you would like to communicate with, right? And then the second is going to be data, which is T-bytes. Okay, so that's that. Now all we have to do is go down below and program these two in, and we should be all good to go. So let's go ahead and do that. So down below, let's just go right here and type in procedure tform1 dot send to all. Sorry about that, guys. Let's do begin, end, and we will also make this here as well. So procedure tform1 dot send to single, and we will come down var begin end. All right, so we now have the ability to try to program the ability for us to broadcast messages out to every single select or every client that's connected to our rat at the same time. So this is a broadcast message, and we also have the ability to send to a specific client that we type in here. That we pass to this procedure. Okay, so we can talk to anyone we click on. Really cool. So we are going to put, let's put right here for the, we're going to do like the most simplified one first. So that'll be the send to all. Okay. So let's just, let's erase this real quick. So that'll stop kind of erroring, and let's start writing the send to all. Okay. So to send to everyone, we are going to have to loop through every single socket connection connected to our server. Hang on just a second here, guys. This is messing up because I declared this wrong. See, I had placed a comma here. I meant to put one of these. Okay, so that'll take care of that. Let's go back down and continue our development. So on the send to all, essentially what we're going to have to do here is we're going to have to loop through all the sockets that are connected to our server socket, right? So to do this, first of all, I'm going to tell you guys, you're going to have to include a uses statement up here. So this is your uses clause. So come up to your uses clause and type in comma after the last thing there. And I believe we have to go NC socket list. So that's called NC, so NC socket list, all one word, okay? And then come back down to the send to all, and we're going to make a variable declaration where we're then going to put socket list is a T socket list. Then we're going to make I for integer for localized looping, so we can loop through all of the people that are connected. And then we are going to, we're going to have to figure out kind of what we're going to do with the, like be able to send to everyone. So let's start with here. Let me just do this right here. So data is T bytes. So we should be able to easily send with just a very basic loop. Okay. So we are going to say, form1 dot connected users lock dot acquire. We're going to lock the list of connected users by locking this bit of memory up so we can loop through it rapidly and then release it. Okay, so we're acquiring all the people that are inside of our connected users lock, which is we're acquiring this because this, whatever happens between this line of code and the end that we're about to do, anything past this, it's critical that the application execute this code. It's kind of like a critical section, if you will. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think yeah, it is a critical section. So the connected users lock is a T critical section. So we're acquiring our critical section. Anything past this must execute guaranteed every time 100% without fail, without error. So that's why we're doing it this way. Okay, we're acquiring, we're going to try, okay, we're going to try to say socket list is equivalent to server socket dot, let's say lines dot lock list. And then we're going to come down yet again and do another try for I is equal to 0 to a high of, we'll put socket list dot count -1. So every single person that's connected to us do server socket dot exec command, and we're going to put socket list dot lines I, comma, and then for this, we will just put, let's put, I'm trying to think, boys. It actually asks for a component handler. It might be possible for us just to execute that line and then just simply do bytes of, and we'll do, yeah, bytes of, or rather, since it's already T bytes, we might be able just to put data and then false, false. This might do it, maybe. Let's go ahead and find this. Let's actually scroll down, because like I've got some other stuff here we did, and we can just find the execute command from that. So let's see where we put the other one at. Where did we put the other one at? It was right here. So as you can see, we can just copy this right here. Let's copy this and let's paste that one there so we can take a look at it. So it's line 0 bytes of blah. Okay, yeah. So in this, for this line here, we're looping through everyone. So we just want to say that, and then now we have a perfect example there. You see how like you pull from code that you've already written and you're kind of done. So this is bytes of, which we don't need because we already have T bytes. So we can just put data and it should be able to send. And that's pretty much it. So now we can come past this finally here after looping through everyone and sending that data, okay? So we're going to say finally server socket dot unlock, or I'm sorry, dot lines dot unlock list, okay? Now at the bottom here, we can go ahead and tell it that we're done looping through all the people. So we've acquired our T critical section. We've looped through all the people and sent the command to them, whatever we passed to data. And then we're unlocking the list so we can further communicate with people. And then at the end, we're going to release this. So copy that, paste that. Instead of acquire, release it. Done. Okay, there you go. This is the entire procedure for sending to everyone. It's that simple. So now we have to go and move on to the next, which is going to be this one here, send to a single client. So let's go ahead and get this out of the way, boys. We're almost on 2 hours here, so let's roll. So send to the single selected person, blah, blah, blah. Let's put the same thing. Matter of fact, I'm just going to copy because I'm lazy. So it's going to be the same logic almost with just a little bit of a tweak. So we do have those two things, but we're going to need one more. And you guys can probably guess what that is. It's going to be the user data class, because we want to be able to talk to that one guy that we're trying to talk to, right? You follow me so far? So this is going to say user data, and that is actually going to be of our class type. So that's going to be T connected user data. So now that we have our T connected user data guy, we can loop. So let's go ahead and we're going to do the same thing we did before. Form one dot connected users lock dot acquire. Okay, now we're going to say try the same damn thing. We're basically doing the same damn thing we just did, except we're adding in a simple, tiny little step which locks onto a specific person that is the client's ID, which is a cardinal. That's all we're doing. It's really simple stuff, guys. So right here, we're acquiring a list for our critical section, and then we're going to say socket list is going to be equivalent to server socket.lines.lock list. And then we're going to try doing something else. So we're going to try for I is equal to 0 to the connected users.count of the form. So we're going to say form1.connectedusers.count minus 1 and do, and then we're going to say begin. and we're going to put user data is equivalent to T connected user data form1 dot connected users dot objects I, the person that we are actively looping over. If user data dot client ID is equivalent to the client's ID, which was passed to this procedure to begin with, then begin server socket.execute command, and we're just going to copy basically the same damn thing. I'll try to remember it. Let's see if I can remember. I always seem to forget like one parameter in this damn thing, but basically it's user data dot line, the person that we've now locked onto's line property, 0, and then data false. I do believe that will be it. So now we're sending to that one person, and we want to break out of the loop because there's no sense, guys. If we had a list of people here, look, if we had a list of people, guy 1, guy 2, guy 3, if we loop through these guys, if we go boom, 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 we loop through all 3 of them, that uses a lot of CPU cycles. But what if we're only looking for guy number 2? So let's say we loop through guy number 1. Nope, that's not him. Guy number 2. Oh, this is the guy. Like, this is the guy we want to mess with, right? This is the guy. There's no point for us going to guy number 3, right? Because if we do, we're using more CPU cycles and it's bullshit. So we stop, we break. Once we get to guy number 2, we break the loop. We don't even go to guy number 3. Guy number 3 isn't even a thing. We had to go through guy 1, and then we found guy 2, found him, and then broke out of our loop. And we never went to guy number 3. Therefore, the CPU was spared having to go through all that. You see what I mean? That is why we call it breaking out of a loop, because we don't need to go any further. Because we already found the guy. We already sent the message to him. We're done. Break. Don't go any further. Got it? Good. Okay. Moving on. So now, at the end, on this finally, we have to say server socket dot lines dot unlock list. Then we have to release our acquired T critical section. So we're going to now paste this here and release. Done. There you go. This is the code to send to a single person, and this is the code to send to everyone. So this code broadcasts command out to everybody connected to us, and this code can be used to send to only a single selected person. Now, we are going to, if you guys can stick with me just a little bit further, we're going to actually finish this up with these last 2 things. So on the client pop-up menu, I told you guys we were going to have the send hello to the selected client and broadcast hello message to all clients, right? Follow me so far? So this is what we're going to focus on right now. So we're going to do these 2 things and make them function on the client, and then we'll end this video and I'll start working on the next video for you guys. And in that video, we're going to go really, really super deep into making some of this other stuff start functioning, okay? But I'm trying to go slow because a lot of people out there are totally beginners, and I hope you guys appreciate this, that I take the time to sit here and explain this to you in vivid detail. I really hope that you guys appreciate this. If you appreciate it, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, please. It helps keep the channel going, right? All right, so let's do it. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and double click on the client pop-up menu, and let's go to broadcast to all clients. So let's do this one first, okay? So on this, what we got to do is find our thing. I think it's send to all. Yep, send to all. So what we're going to call is send to all, and it's asking for bytes of whatever we want to send. Hello. I'm just sending hello, okay? And I'm going to put a pipe after it, okay? So here, we'll just put hello and a pipe, okay? So we have hello and a pipe, and then we're closing this out, and that should do it. So wow, single line of code, and everyone who's connected to the rat will receive the word hello. Okay, so let's hit save, and let's go program the word hello into the client. So remember how I already labeled this out for us? Any command we want, blah, 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 blah. Check this out, boys. All you got to do is HELLO. That's it, you're done. So inside of this, where you send all capital hello in a pipe, if it's hello, then we can do something. Let's just do self.caption : equals SL0. All right, we'll just put, hey, I got hello, whatever. So there you have it. Hello, hey, I got hello. Let's see if it actually, let's see if we can actually make this function. Now, in order to do this, what you have to do, let me show you something real quick. When we click this, we have to make sure that, first of all, that someone is in fact selected. So we're going to say, if no one is selected in the list view, exit and do nothing. Okay. So we're going to say, if self.listview1.selected is equal to nil, then exit. We're not going to do anything, okay? Because if you didn't click somebody to send to, then it's not going to work, okay? Oh, and by the way, boys, one other thing. Click on the list view to select it, go into properties, and look for read only and row select. Make them true, okay? Make sure you do that right now. So now, back in the code, we're going to say, if you didn't select anybody, then we're not doing anything. We're going to exit, okay? Otherwise, you did select somebody. So let's say that someone is selected. Now we have to lock onto that person via their ID. Now remember guys, earlier in the training I taught you that we have a data property that's on this list view. So like, for example, when someone connects in, you see like their IP address, the PC name, the UAC, antivirus, operating system, blah, 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 whatever the hell you added in. However, if you remember correctly, there's also a hidden piece of data, T-custom data, behind the scenes in RAM on each item, each item's .data property. And we, remember, you and I, we shoved their ID into that data. We now need to pull that data back out. You follow me, guys? So we're going to pull that data back out. So here, let me show you how we're going to do this. We're going to make just a quick variable called current client, and it's a string, okay? So the current client that we're going to be talking to is a string. And if you didn't select anybody, then we're not going to do anything. However, if you did select somebody, we're going to say current client is now equivalent to a pointer string pointing to self.listview1.selected.data pointer. So now we have that secret data ID crap that we shoved in there into our new variable. And we'll be able to do this later. I'm actually doing this in the wrong spot, guys. But for now, the send to all is all you need here. But let me copy this. Let me just copy that, okay? So that one's done with just that one line of code. But on this one, where you broadcast to a selected client, this has to be done like so. So now that we have this, our current client is the person that we just selected inside the list view. So now that we have a lock on this person, we can talk to them. So right up here up top, remember how I put the send to single client and then it's expecting this and this? So watch this, boys. All you got to do is say, boom, send to that single client. And what's his name? Oh, his name, it's a cardinal. So first of all, this is p string. So we'll just put, how about we just put like int to str, or I'm sorry, string to int current client and the data. So we now have the current client being passed to the thing that we're going to send to that one guy that we're talking to, right? And the data, which is whatever we have to pump through to bytes. So we'll put bytes of and whatever we're going to shove in there, which this essentially will be, this will be like something inside of this, right? So for this, we'll say single hello, or here, I'll just put single hello pipe. So now this command can go to this single person. So on this endpoint, we'll say single hello, and we'll copy this caption message and paste it, and we'll put, hey, only I got hello, no one else. Okay? Follow me so far, guys? Very simple shit, right? Very simple shit. All right, I think we're ready to try it out, boys. Let's check this out. So I'm going to save the project. Okay, good. It's already autosave for me. Yay. Delphi wipes my ass for me. Okay, it's better than Microsoft wiping it, I suppose. I like it wiped natively with Silk, you know what I mean? Okay, so I'm going to click run, and we're going to listen, and we're going to run the client, and the client is now active. 6 seconds later, we should get an active, valid TCP connection. Oh, there it is. And we're going to right click on this guy, and we're going to say hello to the selected client. And as you can see, he got it. No one else, just him. And if I right click again and just broadcast to all clients, then he got hello. So if I had more people connected, more clients connected, I could show you that this did in fact work, but we're not going to worry about that now. I'm going to close him out, because I already know the code's perfect, because we're badass programmers, you know what I mean? You and me, yeah? Delphi gods, yep. Okay, good. So I'm going to close that out. So this is good. We're on to a really nice start here. I'll probably go through the code and format it a little better. I was kind of in a hurry making the video. I tried to do the best I could with what I had, because I had to sit here and explain everything to you guys, and sometimes my mind gets rambled, but in any case, it's good. It works perfect code. No errors, no bugs, no glitches, no bullshit. So that's that, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. We did, unfortunately, go over the 2-hour limit, but that's okay. I put that 2-hour limit on myself. I just don't want to sit here for more than 2 hours at a time. I feel maybe it might make you guys get a little bored. But in any case, so now let me just kind of recap what we've done. Our rat is now capable of connecting, communicating back and forth, back and forth, and disconnecting. So connecting, communicating, and disconnecting. The main core functionality of any rat is pretty much now programmed into ours. Very cool stuff, right, guys? So just kind of a future recap. In the future video, in the very next video, we're going to be working with at least we're going to do the remote task manager. We might also touch base with the remote webcam, desktop, and audio capture, maybe. Not for sure yet, because we have a long way to go. So, yeah. So there's that. Other than that, guys, I think that pretty much covers it for now. And again, the reason that I sit here and I keep explaining things over and over again is for your benefit. You know why? Because I want you guys to succeed. I want you to be happy. I want you to make this work. You know what I mean? That's why I'm doing this for you guys. But in the future, we are going to make a specialized way of we need to make a settings panel. Like we need to make a whole panel with audio and sounds and click stuff. Like when you click on stuff, it goes like bleep, 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 you know, stuff like that. Also, we need to have toggle switches. We need a way to save and load the settings so that each time you run your rat, it'll pull the settings from a file, say like a localized SQLite database or something. We might look into that. But also, because you notice how every single time I run it, like here, watch. Every single time you run this damn thing, you notice how I always have to go to settings and then listen. Like, what if we made a section here that said auto listen? Then we wouldn't have to worry about that shit anymore, right? That's what I'm talking about. I'm trying to think ahead. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to think in the future, like what we would want to do, right? So yeah, so and also in the next video, we will also be covering quick info. So client quick info. So when there's someone here and you click on them, you want to be able to see their desktop thumbnail, and you also want to be able to see some quick information about their computer, right? So we're going to be programming that in the next video for sure, 100%. So guys, again, it's already two hours and close to 15 minutes. I'm going to end it in this minute. I am so sorry for like ragging on here. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this session, getting things connected, getting things able to communicate back and forth, getting things to disconnect properly and properly update numbers and values and everything. So that's great. Next video, like I said, will be starting out with Remote Task Manager and quick info, thumbnail info, and all that good stuff. And then at that point, we will just proceed past that point. All right, guys, until next time, I'll catch you in the next video. Peace out.